know how I told you last weekend we went to Six Flags? We were out, I sunscreened up, Carolina made sure I was covered. But I guess my body just is not used to vitamin D or something, because my entire face was just red by the end of the day.
Oh no.
And I'm at this stage now, it's like literally just my forehead that had it the worst, but I'm like peeling. So all day I'm like pulling like skin off of my head, and I felt like Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw 2. You know how he's like scratching his dome and like picking off like chunks of meat and just eating it. I'm not eating my dead skin, but
have you gotten out a clothes hanger yet and like bent it in a way that you can just scratch your head?
Scraping at it.
Yeah.
Till it starts bleeding. I'm like, my coworkers are just all staring at me. Like, what the fuck?
Then you start asking Caroline if you can get a surgery where they could put a metal scalp under your skin. I think I need the sunburn's so bad, I think I just need a metal. I want a reflective dome here. I want to send the UV rays back at the sun, like a counterattack. Oh, God.
I want to Uno reverse card it, Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you that this week I've been feeling like Chop Top.
It's been so hot out, honestly. It's been so bad.
I'm not used to it.
No, it's awful. The sun is just beating down anytime you go outside.
Right now, I'm sweating, and I'm just sitting in a room with a fan directly on me. Because this one room in our apartment does no AC.
Oh, God, that's awful.
Yeah, so...
I
don't know if, for people who have families, how, like, someone could, like, live in this room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if that was someone's, like, bedroom or something.
This is going to be a very, it's very specific. Like, have you ever just felt a way and it brings you back to, like, a time, where, like, my room at my parents' house, for some reason, like, the ventilation just wasn't good. So, like, AC just would not get up there. So, in the summers, I'm gaming, it's the Saturday, like 2009 or 2010, whatever, I'm in my room, sitting on a chair, like, right in front of my TV because I'm, like, blind, just sweating. I'm, like, literally in my underwear, just 3 fans going, windows open, just playing, like, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or something at like 3 a.m. So whenever I'm indoors and I'm like sweating, I always think of that. When I'm like in a room without good like air circulation.
So it at least gives you a good memory, even if you are sweating your ass off.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but what it really does is it brings me back to a simpler time where I wish I was. And it just fills me with existential dread that I'll never get that back until I'm probably like 70 and retired and hate my life and playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood remake.
You have to play it on Steam 2.0.
Yeah, Steam 2.0. After Call of Duty 89 has come out. But you know what world is probably pretty hot?
Oh, God.
The world of Mad God.
Nice. I like the lead-in.
The segue.
Yeah, I like that.
So the film we watched today is Mad God, directed by Phil Tippett. And I was going to say this movie came out this year, but it's a very strange movie that has, I guess, come out over the course of 30 years.
Yeah, I read about that. I read some interview with him. It's kind of crazy.
It's kind of like in parts, and then they've stitched it all together. Mm-hmm. But I think what makes this so unique is the fact it was made over 30 years, and it was literally like a passion project.
Yeah.
Which explains a lot when you watch it. How much love and care is in it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But Phil Tippett is the guy who's done a ton of stop motion and like CG work, most notably for Star Wars and Jurassic Park. He did RoboCop, Starship Troopers. I guess he did a lot of like spaceship designs and like alien designs for those movies as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's like really he's neat. The guy that like sculpts the stuff. Like he like came up with the stuff on his own. So he's just a guy who just loves making freaks, and I respect that a lot.
Yeah, I hope he made some of those bar patrons on Tatooine in episode 4, because some of those guys have have really cool designs.
Yeah, because he does like prosthetics and stuff. He has like his own studio.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
He was kind of like changed the way of mixing like stop motion and CG. Like he kind of was like there when everything was stop motion, and was there when it kind of converted in the 2000s to like CGI and computer graphics, and he kind of like evolved with it in a way. So
interesting.
It's pretty cool. I've been watching a lot of interviews with him, and he seems just like a really chill dude, you know? Yeah, but essentially like he started this 30 years ago, this Mad God project, and he was working on it just for fun, like as a hobby. And then the reason he said it took him so long was because he was shooting on 35 millimeter, and then like digital came out.
Oh.
And he was like, well, I don't know if I want to like go on with this, you know, with this new thing. So what he did, I guess he was like, screw it, like I'm not going to work on it. And it sat for like 10 years. And then in the 2000s, he was like archiving the film with like some of his buddies who are also like in the same field. And they were like, what is this? Like, is this some movie? He's like, oh, it's just like a project. And they like watched like what he had and was like, dude, you got to like keep this up and keep going. So he picked it up like 20 years later and like just started working on it in weekends and like at nights.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so, and he talked, and that really helps the movie, because he was basically saying, he's like, you're making a movie like professionally, you have a budget, you have time constraints, you have all these things that go into it that he just didn't have. Like, he was literally just like, Saturday, he just got a couple people to help, you know, he'd work on it, call it a day. And he was also talking about how, like, the amount of time it took him actually helped the narrative, because he didn't feel constrained to write a story. Like, we got to shoot this scene this way, got to shoot this scene this way. It was just literally like he would come up with something and be like, oh, okay, let's do this, you know? And you think, I feel like most artists would probably like crack under that, where they would constantly like changing and rewriting it.
Right.
But he explained it like basically it allowed his like unconscious to pick up on the ideas.
That's pretty cool.
Just passively think about it and just add on rather than like redoing.
Oh, okay. So when he came up with like a new idea, he wouldn't like go back and like fix previous stuff to like fit with it. He would just keep on going with the process, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like, oh, okay, like this is a cool idea. That's why there's not really like a clear narrative, like cut and dry.
Yeah.
Considering there's no even words in this.
Yeah, there's no dialogue at all.
There's no dialogue at all. Just gurgles and screams. But yeah, so like basically he wasn't constricted of making a plot like my character has to do this, has to go here, has to do this, and this is the ending. It was just a amalgamation of all his ideas.
That's pretty cool.
And it explains a lot when you watch it, and I think that's why it's so good.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of crazy that it is that amalgamation of ideas, but it still feels like a cohesive piece of art. Like,
yeah, and it's very clear, at least thematically, I think it's very clear.
Yeah, for sure.
On what it's trying to convey. I mean, I liked it a lot. I'm typically not like, I appreciate animation, right, and stop motion.
Yeah.
Especially stop motion, because it takes so long to do. I mean, what, it took him 20 years to just make an hour and 20-minute thing, you know?
Yeah.
But it just doesn't do much for me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love Wes Anderson. You know, I'm a big Anderson guy. But some of my least favorite movies of his are like Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs. Not that they're bad movies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just me personally. I don't get into like that kind of stuff.
The animation or something?
Yeah, just animation in general. Like, I typically don't watch animated movies at all.
Mm-hmm.
But this was like very like, okay, this is cool, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I really wanted to watch it initially just because I heard it was stop motion. I saw the trailer for it and it looked like really rad. And I was also thinking like I can't really think of like a stop motion like really edgy like horror movie that has ever been done before that I could think of.
And what I think makes it so horrifying is, one, the content of it, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's something about in horror that I love when something is so real but off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this stuff is all horrifying, but because it's stop motion, it's like textures that like we know and understand, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it adds like a level to it that makes it feel almost more real.
Yeah.
Almost like, I guess, surreal, I guess is the word, but I wouldn't even call it that surreal.
It's weird.
It's like if they made Little Big Planet a horror game. You know?
Yeah, I get
like
what you mean.
Like if the Sackboys were all depraved and wanted to kill and fuck each other.
I actually saw a quote from Phil Tippett about this movie, about the making of this movie, and just the CGI versus stop motion in general.
Yeah.
That I thought like made a lot of sense to me, and I think ties into what you're talking about, where he was like, you know, CGI, it looks real, but it doesn't feel real.
Mm-hmm.
And like stop motion looks real, but doesn't feel real. You know what you know what he means, like, and I think that is true because it has like a really uncanny look to it. I know we mentioned it briefly in the Puppet Master thing when the stop motion segments for that, but
exactly,
just something about the way it looks is like really unsettling. I don't know. It's hard to describe
because it's in our world, but it's not at the same time.
Right? Yeah, you're like that is a real object that I'm looking at, but it should not be moving.
Yeah, exactly.
It should not be moving around and making noise. You know,
it's like just off enough. Like it's like cursed images. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's very true.
It's like it's real, but I don't think it is. And I mean that's awesome. And one thing, my one gripe with this movie is I wasn't too big of a fan of the live action mixed in.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Not that I thought it was bad. I just thought everything else was so cool that it kind of took me out a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
And I think I understand why. I mean, you would need to, but it just seemed, I don't know, kind of a little forced.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I assumed it was something with just the budget, because I noticed a lot of the live action stuff, most of it at least, was stuff that like I was thinking like from a filming perspective and like making the model, like how hard that would be. Like when it does a lot of close-up shots of the I don't even know what to call him. I guess his credit is the last man, the main protagonist.
The guy?
Yeah, the guy with the gas mask, yeah.
He's called the Assassin.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like, I noticed that like a lot of the shots that were real were like close-up shots of his like hand like moving or like flipping a switch,
right,
or like opening up the map. And I was like, I guess that would be hard to do stop motion because
that'd be so tedious.
Yeah, you have to make like a giant model that the camera can actually film of his hands and like his whole torso.
And hands, how many bones and joints are in that?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. So I was like, I guess I understand why they did some of that. But yeah, I agree. And especially later in the movie when there's just straight up like live action characters thrown in. I was like, I kind of wish that was more stop motion-y, or they at least tried to make it look stop motion-y,
And one thing I liked about this a lot, at first I was confused and then I just rolled with it, is like the scale of this world. Like, I don't understand if the character, I'm like, is the assassin a little man? Like, is he like a little toy man?
Yeah.
Because everything's so big. And then when you see the humans, that's when I kind of got a scale. Like, oh no, everything is just really like big and piled on top of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I got too.
Because I got a lot, for me, I've got a lot of Eraserhead vibes where... like in Eraserhead, the setting is almost a character of itself. And I think that goes for this world. Yeah. Where I am just fascinated by this world. And it's great because it like doesn't explain anything. You just get it. And I love movies, games, comics, any form of media with cool world building. That's why I love like Blade Runner so much. And I know bad world building when they have to explain everything about the world. Like, oh, look at that contraption. It's a super toothbrusher. It brushes your teeth for you. It's like, you don't need to explain that.
That stuff is all tertiary. It can just exist. Yeah, the important part is the characters and the story. That's, I get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, this is exactly like that, where like I'm just fascinated, especially kind of, I guess, the second world he goes into that was like a factory of little... I don't even know if they were suicidal, but I guess disposable henchmen made of like thread.
Yeah.
Or like wicker, I think they were made out of, but they had like blood and guts in them.
Yeah, that was so weird.
But it was like a factory world, and it's like, okay, like the whole time you're like, what are they making? They're like all these little men, and they're like getting made, and then they're going and creating these giant blocks of metal, and the metal is getting picked up and moving. And I was like, oh, it's fucking pointless.
Yeah.
Like the whole factory exists just to like almost fuel itself.
Yeah, that's what it
without
seems
any
like.
real goal or intention, and just anyone in the way is just a casualty.
Yeah.
And like that shit's cool, And even like our main character was kind of like looking at it like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, he was unique too, because it seemed like he didn't interfere in anything that was going on, really.
No.
He was just like trying to travel through it.
Yeah, and like the most human part you get is when he's about to leave that world, and one of those wicker guys like branches off from his group and like goes to kind of ask him to like take him.
Oh.
And you can see he kind of thinks about it. And then just goes down, and then we see that guy get like ripped apart.
Yeah, he gets like stumped on.
Yeah, no, but he witnesses a lot of horrible shit.
Yeah, he really does.
Like, a guy getting like butchered alive, and the like weird like monkey that was like strapped into an electric chair.
Oh yeah.
And there was like a creepy doll that clearly has been used, if you know what I mean.
Oh god. Yeah, she was doing like a masturbating motion with her hand too.
Yeah.
Like she was like trying to masturbate or something. Really.
And she was all like dismembered.
Yeah, it's weird. I expected in a lesser movie, he would have like unchained that monkey, and then he would have been his talking sidekick or something. That's what I was thinking.
I don't know if a lesser. I think greater movie would be the word.
No.
You give me a talking monkey, 10 out of 10 movie right there.
Sure.
I don't need anything else. I mean, imagine like Whiplash if Miles Teller had a talking monkey with him.
That would make it somewhat better, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
And then he gets mad because the monkey's better at playing drums.
Yeah, the monkey takes over.
Yeah, and he's like, bro, we were in this together.
Yeah, it's like an underdog movie about the monkey. like usurping him. I would watch that.
Fletcher only likes him because he just throws his shit at everybody. He's like, yeah, I like that energy. That'd be awesome.
Anyone that makes a mistake gets a piece of shit thrown in their face.
Yeah, thrown at him. Yeah, some guy hits like a C note and he's like, monkey, shit. And he's like, oh, just throws it. That'd be awesome.
I love our whiplash tangents that we go on every once in a while.
I don't know why. I just always go to Whiplash. I just thought, what is like the most serious movie that does like a comical role would completely ruin? And I was like, oh, Whiplash.
Yeah, that's a pretty clear example.
Like, imagine if they had like a Marvel hero in the Whiplash movie. Him making cracks. And Fletcher just breaking his spine. I want to see Fletcher drive Star-Lord to suicide.
Oh, God.
Just verbally assaulting him over, like, he's not on tempo. He's like, but my dad's mixtape. Fuck your dad's mixtape. And he snaps it. That's some pussy shit.
That should have been a bit in the Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness. They, like, briefly go to, like, the Whiplash world.
Oh, there you go.
And in order to survive, Doctor Strange has to learn how to play an instrument.
He has to go through Fletcher's glass.
Yeah. You market the movie as like a normal like Doctor Strange multiverse movie, and like really an hour and a half is just in that world of like Doctor Strange doing a remake of Whiplash, basically.
J.K. Simmons just verbally assaulting him.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
That's awesome.
Anything would be better.
Yeah, on the subject of music, what this film reminded me of was basically a Wes Anderson movie if it was directed by like a metal band. That's literally like, you know, like the death metal like cover arts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like this movie stop motion. Because it's really horrifying. There's a lot of horrifying shit.
Oh, yeah. And like I was thinking during it, yeah, it almost feels like a music video for a band at some points.
Yeah.
Where I was like...
There's actually a genre of metal. I want to say it's called like sludge metal. I could be completely wrong. But it's basically like how long you can make a song using like the fewest notes.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, so you'll have like, I think one cool band, the Bell Witch, they have like an hour and a half song.
Oh, geez.
And it's awesome. But it's like, I could totally see a music like that going with these visuals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I did like what they ended up going with though for the music in this, because it's like very juxtaposing with what's happening most of the time. Then that like first like weird impish creature appears after like
the
like,
little rap bandage man.
Yeah, the rap, yeah, and then that fucking that like imp with the butcher knife comes out after he catches like a little rat. And like the music is like this like what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of like wondrous like xylophone.
Yeah,
like melody.
Like you're entering like a fantasy world,
right? Yeah,
like a fun little. You're gonna go on an adventure.
you're seeing like this freakish monster, like slice this guy to death with a butcher knife.
Yeah,
it really works for it, and it's weird because then that music also helped in moments like what we were talking about before, where we saw that little wrapped man that gets like separated from the rest of his group, and like the assassin like thinks about helping. It's like there's like kind of like the music was like fitting for that moment, like oddly enough, and it just like continues as the guy gets like stomped stomped and killed.
He's getting like crushed by a bunch of like giant men. I don't know what they really were.
Yeah, there's freakish things. Yeah. Very weird looking.
Pretty much everyone in this world is like a freak.
Yeah, it's true. If there were a movie more full of freaks, I'd love to see it. This has to be the epitome of that.
And this world is just so cool because it's like clearly like at the top there's like a big tower, right?
Yeah.
And you keep going down, and it almost seems like there's more and more like decay. Like the farther down you go, the less control whoever the people control the top have, you know?
Yeah.
Because like he drops down in this balloon and they're like shooting guns at him, and the guns don't even seem like they know what's going on, you know?
Oh.
Like, something in the sky, aim over there, and they're just kind of aimlessly firing.
Right, they're just shooting at it just because there's something there.
Yeah. And he like drops down, and you see him going through, like you see all these almost like Roman statues that are like decaying.
Mm-hmm.
And like pillars, and like I interpret it as like all these civilizations that have like fallen, and it's almost like they just keep building and building upon each failed civilization or failed whatever society.
That's what I was thinking too, yeah.
And each one is almost just like a worse cesspool of filth than the last.
Yeah, and as you go down, it's just darker and weirder, and yeah, that was cool.
It's like this game would make a good roguelite.
It kind of would. This would be like Hades, a cool world to have a video game in.
But it's Mad God.
Yeah.
No, yeah. This game would be awesome.
It really would. He reminded me a lot of the assassin, like he reminded me a lot of like Fallout. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like the NCR
no, it's
troopers.
The mask. He looks like the NCR Rangers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's got that long coat. He's got the gas mask combined with the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the cool little like headlamp.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Yeah. It's fashion.
He definitely looked cool.
Yeah. And I was surprised with how gory this kind of got.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
When they're the surgery scene, when they're literally like peeling off his skin.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah,
and that shot brutal. Of like the real human eye.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
And he was like still alive somehow after all that, which is creepy.
After they like stripped his skin and they like pan out, it reminded me of that shot of like Cabin in the Woods when you see all those rooms of all the different like monsters and stuff.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
But it's like all these people that are just like aftermath of like the surgeries. So it's just a bunch of like dismembered and just open bodies.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's grotesque. It really is. That part made me sick to my stomach when they started pulling out of all those things from him inside of him. Oh, yeah.
They like open them up and it's like a bunch of coins.
Yeah, for some reason.
And then a bunch of books. It's like not even coins, it's like gold. It's like gold trinkets and stuff.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't even know what to make of that at all.
Well, I kind of got the vibe that they were Nazis.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if that was almost supposed to be like because you know, like Nazi gold and stuff like that. Like the stuff that all the stuff they stole, and like it almost like because he starts pulling out like money, so you got like wealth and greed, blah blah blah, and then he's pulling out the books, which is like knowledge, you know.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, the guy is like throwing away everything.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't give a shit about that. And he pulls out a little fetus thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if this is spoiler territory at this point.
It's not really.
Because it's impossible to like I could probably tell you like just things in this movie and it still wouldn't be spoilers.
Yeah, it's just
like I could tell you exactly what happens. But it's like I can't even justify like it. Like you have to see it.
Yeah, you really do. It doesn't do it justice just to describe it because it's like it's very visual. It really is.
Because I'm sure our descriptions are probably you're thinking something else.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and you see it, you're like, okay. Well, I mean, let's just go into, I guess we could call it the plot.
Sure.
Or Phil, in the one interview I watched with Phil Tippett, the guy was like, so what's the plot? You know, this was before the movie was out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, it's a narrative. Like, that's how he put it. And after seeing the movie, I'm like, okay, I get it now, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, it starts with our character, the assassin, and almost like it looks kind of like an escape pod tied to a balloon, getting dropped into this world.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes down for what seems like a super long time.
Yeah.
And it's like all these cool like worlds and civilizations. And there's a point where there's just giant skeletons. Like, which it gave me huge like Dark Souls, Bloodborne kind of vibes.
Oh, I could totally see that. Yeah.
I can see this movie thematically lining up a lot with like Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
And like Dark Souls and those kind of the idea of like decay and repeating the past and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's going through all these worlds and he eventually lands where he sees that creature who gets chopped up by this butcher man freak. I don't know how to really describe him. But there's one shot, and I like that's when it hit me what kind of like movie this was gonna be. Where like when he first lands, he takes his binoculars and looks into this like apartment building, and there's like a guy watching TV, someone like fucking, and then or I think he's like masturbating. There's like a bunch of just horrid shit. Yeah. And then one of them was like a guy stabbing a woman, and she's like moaning and laughing.
Yeah.
As she's getting stabbed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was really weird.
But the assassin, he pulls out like this map, and every time he opens it, it like crumbles apart. Like pieces fall off. Eventually he goes down to the next world. That is, I think, my favorite part of the movie was this like factory industrial world that was ruled by a baby.
Yeah, it's just like a baby.
It's like a baby with like, but like it has full adult decaying human teeth. And it's like on a bunch of TV screens. It almost reminded me, I don't know if have you ever played the old like Fallout games, like Fallout 1 and 2?
Oh, I've seen gameplay of them. I never played them.
It reminds me of like when you talk to characters like that.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
But that same kind of like visual aesthetic of just really like grungy and gross. But yeah, and he's like barking orders, and basically all these little workers are just getting killed constantly in the process of whatever the hell they're doing.
Yeah, they're like killing each other or like accidentally killing each other. It's weird.
Like they're like moving giant like blocks, and the blocks will just tip over and crush them like it's nothing.
Right.
And then the others come and they sweep off like the guts or whatever, and then those guys fall into a pit of fire and burn up, which then fuels something else, and it's like a Rube Goldberg of suicide. Like, and it's so bizarre. And the whole time you're like, what are they making? And you realize just nothing. Like, just, I mean, I assume that's supposed to be a commentary on like workforce and stuff like that mentality.
Yeah, you know? That's definitely what I got from it. This is where I could really see where this movie was going thematically. Yeah, like when they got to this part, I was like, it's okay,
a commentary on different levels of society.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he eventually moves on from there, and he finds a large pile of briefcases, and the whole time he's been carrying a briefcase. And at this point his map has like crumbled and he has like no map left. So I guess the briefcase was a bomb. And it's safe to assume by all the other briefcases they have sent other people to do the same job and have failed at the same part.
Right, yeah.
And as he's setting it, he sets it, but then a creature grabs him and pulls him away. But the bomb, like, basically it's on like a timer, and it gets to the last second and gets stuck.
Right.
Like, it's like going back between like 1 and 2, but it won't go to like the 0. And there's like a lot of tension too, because that's going, and then meanwhile he's getting like pulled away and he's like trying to escape. And I mean, it's also safe to say that was like a suicide mission for the guy as well.
Yeah, I would assume he was not getting out of that. There's no way.
Because it was like a 60-second timer.
Right.
But yeah, so the creature takes him to this lab in front of an audience, and they like strip him and peel off his skin, and everyone claps. And this is where they eventually pull him apart, and they dig into his insides, where like they throw out gold, and they throw out the books, and then they eventually get this little like baby thing. It's like a larva, kinda.
Yeah, it looks like a larva. That's where Eraserhead baby came to mind.
Yeah. But like I realized like, okay, maybe this assassin guy is like something made in a lab to do this one job. And then we find out we go all the way back up to the surface, or I guess above this world, where you have like a real life mad scientist who is making these assassin guys.
Yeah.
And basically they just send them in one by one. Which is really funny because they just do the same thing over and over without changing the plan. Yeah, so they drop into another assassin, and he gets on a bike that eventually breaks down, and then he gets in a Jeep, and then he goes through like a war zone.
Mm-hmm. I actually interpreted this as the same assassin that we saw before.
Oh, like almost like Dark Souls.
Yeah, because when they have him on the table, they like drill something into his head, and then it like goes into his eye. So then I was like, oh, is this a flashback? And then later, after this part is over, it goes back to that surgery table, picking up where we left off before.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume this is just like a past memory of this guy.
Past memory.
Yeah, that where he's done a job like this.
There's also like an army of them. But I think you might be right.
Yeah, like that's like past stuff. Like maybe most of the army is gone now or something. Like, I don't know. And he's remembering like a more alive era where more people were around. I'm not really sure. I don't know.
Yeah, it was very confusing. I took it as just there's someone up there that just wants to blow up this world.
Yeah,
just end it. Yeah, but the nurse then takes that baby to this very warded man, this warded dog thing, who is currently feeding like this really bright like aquarium.
Oh yeah, where everything seems like fine.
Yeah. But either way, he gets it, and then my interpretation, the Mad God, comes in.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a plague doctor looking guy.
Mm.
He looks kind of like Bloodhound from Apex. But
I could see that, the skull and everything.
Yeah, it's like a skull mixed with a plague doctor that has those like samurai hats, you know, like the round hats like that. But yeah, so he takes the baby and he mashes it and turns it to dust. Or no, they mash the baby, they cook it into like an ingot, like an iron ingot, and then they crush it, and then he blows the dust into this hole in the wall. And my interpretation is it creates a whole new universe, because you see like the Big Bang happen.
Mm.
Well, you see like all this like huge universe. Then you see like the Big Bang. Then you see all these like civilizations starting and falling, starting and falling, starting and falling. Basically until they get to the point they're at right now. And then a black hole is created and the movie's over. Like, it's just the most surreal thing, and then just boom, black.
It's just over.
It's over. Which is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it was really weird and unsettling.
So I'll go into my interpretation first.
Okay.
and see if you have something else or have come to the same idea.
Yeah.
But I think it is essentially, you know, the mad god is desperately trying to, you know, create like these universes that essentially will work.
Mm-hmm.
But they keep imploding on themselves. Because of everything, you know, like society, man, all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like this insane cyclical cycle of just like constant decay. I think to the point where he just gives up and just destroys everything.
Yeah.
Being like the mad god.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I read it. Obviously, like each layer, like I think each scene kind of represents something else, like a commentary on like society or government and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we would need to break that down like scene by scene, because there's so much.
Yeah.
But what did you kind of come up with?
I had a similar thing, but I don't think that character's supposed to be the mad god.
Ooh.
I think that at the end when like after he blows the dust into the whatever that was, I feel like he's just like a random like agent who's trying to like help the world or like reset the world,
like basically. A prophet.
Or I don't know. It's like I don't know what he is, but I think his motivation is that he wants to reset the world because everything sucks. And that's why he gets the baby and everything, and he has to like do all this. But I think what we're seeing is because there's a lot of like imagery of clocks and stuff and like rewinding or whatever. I think by doing that he reset the world, and then you see like
everything just happened again.
Yeah. It like starts out with like a city that looks a lot like cities that we have now, where the sun is like up, it looks normal, looks beautiful or whatever, and then it's like someone like plants a bomb and blows it up, and then it looks like it goes through all the same stages, and then we end up back to where we left off before he reset it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like, and I also think this because I saw earlier in the movie, there's like graffiti on the wall that says something like God is reset or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think he's like they're trying to reset the world because it sucks, and we've seen how horrible it is or whatever. Yeah. So I think the mad god, I think we only see his reflection, because at the end of the movie, there's that room it shows where there's all those clocks like ticking, and there's like a cuckoo clock, and then there's somebody looking into like a beaker of liquid, and it's like this face that we've never seen before. So I think the mad god is the one that's watching all of this happen and like not
he's just like observing,
not helping, and he's basically like waiting for the world to change, or that like, because I think overall, I think that's the message of this film, is that, you know, we can't like, I feel like it's supposed to be like a dark, like exaggerated reflection of the world that we live in now, where like we basically exist and subsist on violence and like dog eat dog, like those like wrapped people are like fucking killing each other, just going about their normal lives. And I feel like and even in the professional world, in our world, it's like you're expected to step on each other to get to the top. And like I feel like that was an example of that, and the world just sucks. And I feel like in real life we're destroying the earth as we go along, because we're so complacent. And I feel like a lot of the characters in the movie showed a lot of complacency. I think that was
they're fine with it.
Yeah, that was their issue. Like even the main character, the assassin, like his map keeps falling apart, but he doesn't really do anything about it. Like he just like lets it fall apart, and then when it's falling apart, he's like, okay, whatever, I don't care. It's like none of the characters, like especially our assassin character, want to make a change. And I think that's why they're stuck in this cycle where it keeps getting to that point, and then the guy resets it, and then they're back and they have hope again, but then they fuck it up by being violent and wanting to like blow each other up, and like existing on war. And we see everyone seems to just want to kill each other. Like that world he went to was just a bunch of people shooting each other.
Yeah,
like that blue like world.
It's just
It was like,
and there's that world just tanks and fighting.
yeah, exactly. So I think, and then there's that thing it starts with like a Bible verse at the beginning, where it's like Leviticus, where I think you're supposed to think at the beginning that like, oh, the God is going to be actively doing something like that, but it's really just, if you don't follow like my word or whatever, you're just going to do that to yourselves. I don't have to do a fucking thing.
Right.
Like, you all are just going to kill each other and make a horrible and uninhabitable world for each other.
And I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit up here and watch and wait for you to change.
See, that's why I interpreted the mad god as that witch doctor guy, because he's like resetting the world, and it's just the same thing. It's like the cyclical cycle of the same thing happening over again, and like only like a madman, like that's like the definition of insanity.
Oh, doing the same thing over and over.
And it's clear that he's like he knows what he's doing. Like, that whole process wasn't like new to him, you know. So that's why I interpreted him as the mad god. But I think in the end, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
who it is. It could be that weird little pus-filled man that is like the assistant. I don't think it changes anything.
Yeah, the only reason I thought that the mad god was like that thing at the end where it shows that room full of like clocks and books and stuff, was just, I didn't know how else to explain that. Well, like, because you see there's someone's like reflection, like as if they're like looking at whatever we just saw. I don't know. It was very weird. So, but that would make sense too if that guy was the mad god as well. Like,
but I think either way, no matter who it is, it's the same thing happening.
Yeah.
Is God just hitting like, okay, you fucked up. Let's
try that.
Let's retry that.
Yeah, I definitely took it. It's like a very depressing movie.
It's very pessimistic.
Oh yeah. It's like, wow, the world is shitty.
It's so funny because you see like Phil Tippett like talk about this project, and the dude looks like Santa Claus, and he's so jolly.
Yeah.
Like, he just casually talk, like he just is a fun guy, you know, like an easygoing dude. But then it's just like all this stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that the mind who, like, this guy worked on like fucking Star Wars and Jurassic Park
is making shit like this.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Well, I mean, it's the same way like David Lynch, you know, like all his work, especially like his like paintings and stuff, like, and you talk to him and he's like the nicest, sweetest man, you know.
Yeah. And then he brings you down to his basement. And he has a bunch of dissected dead animals.
Yeah.
And decaying
he's like,
fruit.
I've been decaying this ferret for a while. You wanna
take a look? That is my favorite kids, David Lynch story, when him and his dad went down to his basement and he saw all that.
Never have kids.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorites is when he was like waiting for college, like he moved up there like 2 weeks early, and like his parents just left, and he had groceries for like a week and just a radio and a chair, and he sat in the chair listening to the radio for like 2 weeks straight. But the batteries died and he didn't have any, so there was like a week he was just sitting in silence.
That's so depressing.
Yeah. And he like couldn't even explain why he did that.
God.
But I mean, this I think shares a lot of themes Twin Peaks has with season 3, where it is like you know, Twin Peaks is almost like this place of comfort. And we see these characters 25 years later in The Return, and it's their children and themselves are falling for the same things they did before. You know?
Yeah.
Like Shelley has gone for another abusive guy. Her daughter is going for another abusive guy. Ed and Norma still aren't together. All this stuff. It's just like, it's like almost like a time capsule of just the same thing over and over. Like, people aren't learning. So, and I think that's a very similar theme But this is just on a grand scale, like a universal level.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, even that, just the contrast between seasons 1 and 2 of Twin Peaks to that, it's like, it feels so different. It's like that, that time between those seasons, like the world has gotten worse and like decayed. Like how we see in Mad God, where like it seems like this world has just been around so long that people just build on top of each other, and like just tons of failed civilizations. And
well, I mean, it's like how like Paris is built on top of like thousands of skeletons.
That's
like
really depressing.
They built over the city. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy and that's awesome. But like, I feel like in this film, eventually, obviously this film, Earth is probably millions of billions years old, you know? And we have just like built and built and built and built on top of it. So it's like when one thing falls, okay, just, you know, build over it. Doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? Let's just try it again.
Yeah. It's like, that's this complacency of all the characters in it. Like, that's their issue, is that they need to try to make like an active change rather than just wanting to start over. And like, you know, it's weird.
And the main difference between, I think, this and like with Twin Peaks is like Twin Peaks is like a beautiful place. Like, it's almost like a facade. But you peel back and you see all like the ugly inner workings. But everything is just ugly.
There's no beautiful parts of it.
There's nothing nice. And even that one nice thing we had, those little fish people, I guess they were like kind of like sea monkeys.
Oh.
You're just doing that to just eat it.
Yeah.
Just to kill it.
Yeah, that was funny.
So, and it's like almost like a really dark comedy too.
It is. There's some funny parts to this, especially that part with the like sea monkey things.
Yeah.
It's just funny for some reason just to see them like be so happy and like carefree. All of a sudden one of them gets kidnapped by like an eldritch abomination.
Yeah.
From below.
It's awesome. And like all like great. The workers and how they died, it's like a lot of physical humor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's almost like a level of like a childlike view on it.
And
I think the stop motion, helps it. Because everything looks like almost like it was like crafts,
Yeah, like it's like a play set that like a child is working with or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically like what it is.
It really is. It's just an amazing movie. It feels like the culmination of someone's like life work, knowing everything that he's been through and how all the movies he's worked on and all the people he's worked with. It really just feels like this like supreme like passion project that is like.
And this was really made by his friends too. Like the reason this happened was because his friends were like, "Dude, make this. This is awesome." And they helped him.
That's neat.
So it's just like him and a couple dudes hanging out. And again, I've said this a lot through these episodes. Is I don't care about the quality of a film, or whatever. As long as you can tell that there's passion behind it, you're gonna have a good movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter the genre, doesn't matter the subject, doesn't matter the budget. If you can care and you show that care through like the art piece, it's going to be good. And this you can tell there's so much love. Like every like frame is so detailed.
Yeah, it's every frame really. It reminded me of like paintings or something. Like how well crafted it was.
And that's why, like, I compare it to, like, a Wes Anderson movie where, like, everything is, like, perfect. Like, you can tell Phil Tippett, like, intentionally placed everything there. Like, himself. Like, he's just like, yep, this year, even if it's just, like, stuff way in the background.
Yeah. It's an incredible,
it's just,
incredible
There's
work.
nothing anything like it. And it's very refreshing to watch. And it's fun, which is odd to say, considering the subject matter. I mean, I think even if you're not into horror movies, if you appreciate, I guess, animation and like art, I think it's worth checking out.
Oh yeah, I feel like most people would. would enjoy this if you're into like really artsy stuff. That is, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, it's even just cool just seeing this medium done at this level, because there's not a lot of stop motions movies out there.
No, yeah,
because of how much work it takes.
Yeah, I just imagining how horrible that would be to like make. Where I completely forgot to mention this earlier, but I fucking read an interview with Phil Tippett, and he literally said that he had to check himself into a mental institution while he was making this because of how like painstaking and like long it was taking.
Yeah. But I don't blame him.
It's like, yeah, he said something about like he hated it while making it, but like now that he has distance from it, now that it's finished, he like really is proud of it and like appreciates it.
Yeah, he said had to take multiple like breaks from it.
Right, yeah.
And it's so funny because that's like his hobby.
Right?
You know?
Puts himself through all this torture for his hobby. It's commendable. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that he came back and just saw it through.
Yeah, I'm wondering what like his professional work has been. Like, what has he been doing like in the industry other than this? Like,
I think he still just does movie stuff. Like he makes props and all that.
That's neat.
Yeah, I hope he continues this. I think what would be really cool is if he just did like kind of like what he did this is make a bunch of short films after this.
Oh yeah,
because I would just love to see this world more, even if it's just random stuff. Like I don't even need a story,
right?
You know, show me just a random layer of this world.
It would be cool. I did in the interview I read. He did say that he was working on another project. I don't remember what the fuck it was called, but I don't. He said it's not going to be like horror oriented, but he said it was like inspired by like 40s Warner Brothers cartoons, whatever that means.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be like, I guess kind of like in the style like Cuphead and all that.
Oh yeah, that would be neat. I would watch that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
But yeah, Mad God, it's on Shudder. I believe it's a Shudder exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, more reason to get Shudder.
Yeah, please. This is the best movie that we've watched on Shudder, in my opinion. That the other one was Sadness. The Sadness was also really good.
You need to watch more Shudder originals. We oh God. We need to. No. There's really good ones. One Cut of the Dead is my favorite zombie movie.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
One of the most craziest like movies I've seen as far as just like what like the fact they even had the idea to do that is insane. Revenge is really good, like probably one of the best rape revenge movies ever.
Oh, I've seen so many ads for that one. I should have seen that by now.
Revenge is awesome.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
And it goes in a way where I think most of those movies need to go, where it's almost like there's a snap in it and it just changes to like surreal, where like the rules of our world are kind of thrown out the window, and it just becomes like just a revenge quest, and it's awesome.
That sounds good to me.
I'll turn you more onto Shudder, because right now you're surprised when a Shudder movie is good, and I'm the opposite. I'm like, oh, this one wasn't good. That's weird, because I've only seen the good ones.
I don't even remember which one I did. Oh, I guess it was Slapface. I didn't like that one that much.
Okay, I'll give you that. That was not good. but it was funny.
It was funny. There were parts of it that I liked for sure.
There's one we're going to do an episode on called Furies that I watched on a whim and ended up loving it.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, imagine like if Dead by Daylight was a movie. But like the concept of Dead by Daylight.
Oh, with the entity and everything, you mean?
Like a game. Like it's like a game.
Okay.
With a bunch of like there's basically, I think it was like 6 killers and there's 6 survivors, but you find out each killer has a survivor linked to them. So if another killer kills their person, I think if I remember, they had a collar around their neck and their head explodes. So they're like killers playing a game. So it's like a game for the girls to survive and a game for the killers to kill the other girls. And it's like super gory and it's really good. It's like really tension filled and it's awesome.
Oh, okay, I'll have to watch that.
And it's really unique. So I want to do an episode on that at one point.
Yes, we will.
Yes. But okay, I'm done shilling for Shudder.
We're going to review the Black Phone or whatever. Because why not?
It's been getting really good reviews.
It actually has. Yeah, I'm excited to see it, unironically.
Me too. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. And ever since I saw that trailer, I was like, okay, Ethan Hawke being a freak, I'm on board.
Yeah, especially since it's gotten good reviews. I'm so down to see it.
I'm glad. I was scared. I mean, I would have seen it either way.
Right.
But I'm hoping it's good because we've gotten a lot of good horror movies this year.
We really have. I'm very thankful.
2022 has just movies in general have been good this year.
It's so true. It's not even over yet.
It is weird. I'm not used to it. Yeah, we're like halfway through.
I know. I feel like Everything Everywhere All at Once is my best picture of the year, and I have that. By the time I saw that, I was like, "Fucking!" It wasn't even like March yet.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, like what? Like we had the Batman.
Oh yeah.
Everything Everywhere. The Northman. X was amazing. All these really good movies coming out.
It's gonna be hard to pick my favorite horror movie because it's gonna be X or this. I kind of want to put this over it, man, because I just saw it more recently. I'm not sure though.
Well, hey, we still got 6 more months.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.